Manus Islanders raise concerns on rising sea levels. NCD records 3 new COVID-19 cases. And Orchids Elsie Albert signs deal with St George Illawarra.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Thursday's news. People in Manus are becoming largely cautious about the impacts of climate change as rising sea levels continue to creep inland in most of the outer islands. Joe Abraham, a former primary school teacher in Lorengau, says the sea swells beyond their shorelines and is not helping. Mr. Abraham says the people in the outer islands are now bracing for more impacts as much of their land has already been taken up by sea.
Manus province is made up of many smaller islands, and most of its coastlines have already begun feeling the pinch of rising sea level. Joe Abraham, a former teacher residing in Lorengau town, says the much talked about climate change and the rising sea level are being said so much over the years that this serious topic has now become a cliche.
So it's now kind of all effects that you want to cause him. Sea level rise by bakarapin all liglig atolls blimi which planting on liglig island long Manus now will affected heavily.
The story of climate change impacts is similar in almost every coastal community in Papua New Guinea, but the realities of it, such as land shortages, food security and population growth, are rarely being talked about by those in authority. And in the next few years, maritime provinces like Manus is expected to see its first lot of climate change refugees. Climate change refugees are already a reality for small island communities such as the Carteret Island in the autonomous region of Bougainville, various parts of East New Britain and Medang provinces. While relocating people may be the only usable alternative, responsible authorities are also taking into consideration the land issues where landowners may be reluctant to give up their customary land to use.
Planting on island way close to big place. No good only got all families belong or line belong inside or some big place, but can help him along. Move him all come on top, now resettle him all can all place where all got all family belong. So was all line will not all one talk long and now means I think no good government by pioneer road long help him all resettle him all mainland Manus kind of thing.
So far, the only means of survival on the outer islands is by ensuring that the people are adapted to the climate change impacts. Agricultural institutions such as NARI have been encouraging subsistence farming using new evolution of crops such as taros, bananas and yams that are tolerant to drought or can grow on soil with high salt concentration. While these are some positive steps taken to provide relief to the affected coastal communities, their future in the long run is still not certain. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News.
Last night, the National Capital District recorded 3 new cases of COVID-19. To date, PNG has already tested around 24,000 people. The large majority have turned out to be negative and an additional 91 samples are pending lab results. Overall, 7 COVID-19 related deaths have occurred. However, 509 people out of PNG's 531 cases have recovered. And recently in NCD, the easing of restrictions has seen a far more relaxed attitude on the streets.
When COVID-19 first hit the shores of PNG, it caused panic and an unprecedented government reaction in terms of public control. Lockdown Port Moresby, lockdown in Lae, lockdown nationwide. 7 months on and times have changed. NCD in the last 24 hours recorded 3 new cases, 2 men and a woman, with ages ranging from 21 to 50 years of age. At present, they are being isolated while the rapid response team of NCD is carrying out contact tracing. And this is where it's become somewhat of a paradox. In the capital Port Moresby, which is the nation's hotspot, things are pretty much back to normal. Movement is still relatively unrestricted, and apart from the midnight curfew in place, The initial rules of social distancing and social contact isn't being adhered to. Face masks, which the Prime Minister had stated mid-year would be mandatory, are worn by a lot of people, but not all. While shopping centres and other public amenities are taking it upon themselves to ensure a hygienic environment, the societal reaction of NCD has accepted the new normal as nothing new. PMVs at present during morning commutes are filled, schools and markets opened. And while there has been a massive injection of funds specifically placed for a pandemic response, the anticipated peak of an outbreak and deaths has been relatively minuscule compared to the global statistics. An already struggling economy, now deep in recession, and the anxiety for business to continue, has seen PNG slowly pick up the pieces from last year. It's been a frustrating year for many. Loss of academic hours, loss of revenue, and loss of jobs made it extremely tough for households nationwide. There is hope that, under the new way of life, it will allow for a more entrepreneurial and innovative approach to dealing with this crisis. The coronavirus pandemic has seen a larger use of the internet for businesses and communication and general interaction between people. But in the words of Father Ben Fleming, the director of St. Joseph's Catholic College, when interviewed about his school's lockdown, nothing beats human contact. Indeed, when the announcement that sporting matches would now allow for spectators, there had been a hype and buzz surrounding it, which showed just how desperately people needed to get out of the enforced bubbles they'd been placed in. But the government rightly still wants people to remain cautious. The death tolls worldwide have been too high to ignore, and it would be callous and irresponsible of especially the NCD citizens to disregard the rules set down. The new normal, so to speak, once embraced and wholly accepted by PNG society moving forward, will soon become nothing new. Jeremy Moggy, National TV News.
Work on improving and developing Nipa Township into a major township has begun. There is a plan already in place for rezoning and subdivision. Surveyors are currently on the ground to map out the parameters of the township before any physical allocation of land is given for government, business and public.
The sleepy township of Nipa in the Southern Highlands province. It's the headquarters of the district, a place where people come to do business, access government services, and hopefully find a job. At the moment, there is less economic activity happening here. This is the reason the local MP wants this changed. Jeffrey Komal, through his DDA, has started the groundworks to lay a foundation for a thriving township headed by the district planner.
Nipa no more ME station, and more recently declared a township also where we're working business work. Now hopefully by March next year, all money can apply and you can kisim title working business.
Government and people can come together. The town planner told the people of Nipa that once the surveying is done and the land is registered, the titles would be made available.
Triple moon all working business work go 115 blocks all 7. Give him allotment a section behind me block by registering.
Bradley Valenaki, National MTV News.
Opposition leader Belden Nama has congratulated the people of Bougainville for a successful presidential election. His congratulatory message comes after the declaration of former Bougainville Revolutionary Army ex-combatant Ismail Torama as the new president-elect. Torama polled more than 48,000 votes to be declared the president of the autonomous Bougainville government.
Speaking to the media yesterday, the opposition leader says the people of Bougainville have behaved in an exemplary fashion in these elections as they have done during the referendum. He congratulated them for a peaceful referendum as well as the presidential elections. The opposition leader further extended his congratulatory message to the new president-elect.
I am sure the president-elect carries also a lot of scars on himself, just like the rest of us. In Papua New Guinea. And I want to congratulate him from my heart for a very convincing victory as the president-elect for the autonomous region of Bougainville.
With the autonomous region poised between determining its own future through independence and continuing its allegiance to PNG, it is a critical time for Bougainville. The opposition leader says it is good to have an ex-combatant as the head of the autonomous Bougainville government, adding that the people have spoken through the referendum with a 98% majority in favor of independence, and by their choice of leader, they have spoken with the same tone.
An ex-combatant has come out winner as the choice for the people of Bougainville to lead them in this crucial time, in these critical moments.
Nama further adding that it is time for the PNG government to attend to the matter of its continuing relationship with the Bougainville government.
The people of autonomous region of Bougainville have spoken with a democratic voice. It behoves the PNG Parliament to adhere to those same principles as enshrined in the Constitution and the Bougainville Peace Agreement.
The opposition leader also remembered those who have contributed for peace in Bougainville. He commended them for their efforts, saying it is important for lasting peace in Bougainville and PNG.
That is why I have always maintained that whichever way the cookie crumbles, the important thing and the most important thing is the lasting peace for the people of Bougainville and for the people of Papua New Guinea.
Rayon Lakingu, National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. We'll be back with more stories after these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Chinese embassy in Papua New Guinea donated 2 new vehicles to Butuka Academy in Moresby South Electorate in NCD today. Chinese Ambassador Xu Bing was present at the occasion to hand over the car keys to the academy. The China Enterprises Association in PNG also donated 220 cartons of printing paper as well as some face masks to the academy. The donations came at a time when the academy is experiencing operational challenges.
His Excellency Xu Bing was met on arrival at the Academy grounds by Moresby South MP and Housing and Urbanization Minister Justin Kachenko on behalf of the PNG government, as well as the Academy authorities and students. And in presenting his speech, the ambassador cited a letter that was written by Chinese President Xi Jinping to students of the academy not long after the president officially opened the school back in November 2018 upon attending the APEC meeting.
The Chinese side attaches importance to the development of the Butuka Academy and will continue to provide necessary support and help so that it will bring greater benefits to the local people. I wish the Butuka Academy even greater success. Signed, Xi Jinping, President, People's Republic of China.
A student representative made a response to the president's letter.
Done for this school. When we needed help,
the China Enterprises Association in PNG, which has already donated over 200,000 worth of medical personal protective equipment to assist in PNG's COVID-19 response, today donated over 200 cartons of A4 and A3 printing paper, along with more face masks to Butuka Academy.
Butuka Academy is now a symbol of friendship between the Papua New Guinea and the Chinese people. We are happy to see the local students are studying here in the beautiful and modern school facilities. We would like to provide continued support to the school and hope this will encourage students to learn more and better.
With Butuka Academy being in the Moresby South Electorate and the National Capital District, the members of parliament responsible who pioneered the project were proud of the donations.
This school is one of the best in the country, and will only get better from now and into the future with the support that we have from our very good friend, the Chinese government and the People's Republic of China.
And this is the manifestation of that relationship between our two cities, the city of Port Moresby and the city of Shenzhen in Guangdong Province, People's Republic of China. We are also indeed honored to have the President himself of the People's Republic of China to come and open this school. So our children, staff, board members, this school is no ordinary school. This school represents a strong bond.
Apart from the success stories, the new academy has been facing a lot of administrative operation challenges, and so such donations are very timely.
When we started at the beginning of the year, we had funding coming in from the parents' portion, and the first lot of TFF payments that came in, but they were very low. That brought us up until the COVID outbreak, and during the COVID outbreak, much of the funding went in preparation for the school. Prepare itself for COVID preparedness. We had a bit of funding for that period, but wasn't that much.
Receiving the promised tuition assistance funding from the government is another challenge for the academy. According to authorities, the academy has also been experiencing security issues just outside the school premises, where a number of staff members and students have been threatened and held up at gunpoint. Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
The township of Wau in Morbe's Bulolo district will now have access to water supply after 4 decades. The water project was launched by Bulolo MP and Minister for National Planning Sam Bassel at the Wau Primary School last week. The project is at the cost of almost 2 million kina and is the second in the district. The first was done in Bulolo Township. New Wara contractors have been contracted for the project. While Lord Mayor Willie Sine appealed to locals to allow contraction work to proceed without making unnecessary compensation demands. Mr. Bassel, on the other hand, made an appeal for locals and community leaders to maintain a good law and order environment conducive for such projects to go smoothly.
Responsibility for law and order and Mr. Plahan Blayumi. Suppose me put him light Blayumi lo street, me bawas good. One black catapeli kisim and bagarapim name Blayupla. Osem na mila ki mosem or community all stop lo 1+ street or beginning Blayupla must responsible. Lo take him responsibility lo make sure that asset lo gaban you no can bagarapim.
Over 20 staff members of the Immigration and Citizenship Authority, or ICA, participated in a cancer awareness session conducted by the PNG Cancer Foundation. In recent weeks, staff members of the ICA participated in donations to a blood drive. They invited the foundation to visit their office today to consolidate their commitment to health awareness. The session covered mouth, breast and cervical cancer, which are the 3 common cancers in PNG in terms of incidence and available data. This Pinktober, the PNG Cancer Foundation introduces the Let's Talk Cancer, or LTC, in Pinktober events. It is a fundraising initiative that allows organizations to host an LTC session to support the campaign and contribute to assisting the PNGCF to do its work across the country. It's been 5 years since the Small Craft Act was passed to provide safety guidelines for persons using small crafts. Over the past 2 days, the National Maritime Safety Authority held a review meeting in Lae, bringing officers from the Momasa region and the Ora province. Denny Welly from the Sundown administration said funding constraints and the lack of cooperation from small craft operators and owners were 2 of the challenges faced with implementing the Small Crafts Act in his province.
These are stakeholders in the implementation of the Small Craft Act in the Momase region and the Oro province. They include provincial administration and law enforcement officers. This week they gathered in Leh to review the Small Craft Act, which was passed 5 years ago.
We want to do this review to see, where the challenges are, where the issues are, what type of constraints the provinces are facing, the milestones and the highlights that the provinces have achieved.
The Small Craft Act was established to govern the operation of small crafts in the country, to provide safety guidelines for operators and users. Registering small crafts and licensing has become a requirement under this act. According to the National Maritime Safety Authority's Small Craft Program Coordinator Ishmael Kawi, 4 out of the 5 provinces present have started with registrations.
It's just meeting that needs to get, the board to be established and the registry to be established, so they can, NMSA can come in and assist them, and then they can now look at into registering and licensing their boats.
Danny Welly is the Sundown Administration's revenue manager. He said they've had financial constraints in implementing the act in the past 5 years.
Planti olmana meri olino kisimbot blongol kamlo registration. Osem so mibla mas golo place wali stop na mibla putim or load line marking na labeling blol board give him number, give him our all application. Oli film na bian boy monem time mibla tok sabe boli karmikam na mibla proper registration.
From 2016, there was no funding available, so we plan not making some stuff. And we plan serving the going up. The current PA was able to fund us in 2019. 2019, the proposal was given. Funding now, we plan start ready. We play it now. The 2019 play ready. We got to work finish, and then in this year 2020 now we plan start making work now, and plus start registering more boat finish.
A regional Small Craft Act review workshop will also be conducted in the New Guinea Islands and the southern region. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
The Department of Commerce and Industry signed a memorandum of agreement with the National Development Bank today to roll out 80 million kina to finance agriculture, micro, small to medium enterprises or MSMEs in Papua New Guinea. This is part of the national government strategy for the MSME sector, with a total funding allocation of 200 million kina. Another component of the funding will be rolled out through Bank South Pacific. The main objective of this credit facility is to enable existing and aspiring citizens sufficient capital to pursue their business interests at low interest rates.
I would like to thank the Honourable Minister for supporting the Department of Commerce and Industry and NDB at the NEC level in securing the approval of this micro, small and medium enterprise credit facility to assist the growth of MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises in the country by lending to them at very concessional rates, interest rate of 4% under this new program.
This is the first time ever that the government has put some money into our department and also into SME. So, I have said earlier, this is going to be a history.
Kina Bank launched a new volunteer mentor program with Kokoda Track Foundation's Motukoita Forward Education Program. The program offers students the opportunity to connect with young and seasoned professionals in the banking and finance industry through face-to-face and online mentoring. Through the mentor program, Kina Bank staff will provide one-to-one coaching to students, helping them with their studies, assessments and to prepare for exams. Kina Bank General Manager Corporate Affairs and Investor Relations Gavin Hurd says their aim is to help create the workforce of the future so that our communities can thrive. The mentors met their mentees earlier this month and have commenced their study program together. And now looking at the NAS Funds market report, the Kina opened unchanged at $0.2860 US in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina is buying $0.2785 US dollars, $0.3845 Australian dollars, $0.4171 New Zealand dollars, and 28.58 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices, at New York closed, gold is trading lower, coffee closed lower, cocoa closed lower, and copra closed higher. Crude oil is trading higher, palm oil closed lower, and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading lower. Chukai Sports is next, Kilawani, with an exclusive interview with PNG Orchids star Elsie Albert.
Yes, Helen. Elsie talks about her move from local league to NRL. Join me for the details in Chukai Sports.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. From a fluke intention to play rugby league in East New Britain during her studies, Elsie Albert, the PNG Orchids prop-in forward and captain, has become the first female from Papua New Guinea's domestic competition to sign with the Australian women's NRL side. EMTV had this exclusive interview with Elsie 6 hours after she signed the deal. Papua New Guinea will now see its first domestic competition female player in the Australian Women's National Rugby League platform. She is Elsie Albert, 24-year-old PNG Orchids captain, who signed a one-year contract with the St George Illawarra Dragons earlier today.
It was great. I've been working towards earning myself a contract, so it felt really good to finally get that.
Elsie's rugby league career started during her university studies.
Left high school and then went to uni. That was in 2018. Went to University of Natural Resource in Rabaul, and yeah, from there there's a school team there, so I joined the team just to make the numbers.
She was then selected from the school team to represent the East New Britain province, and one door opened another as she made her way to national level. She made her debut with PNG Orchids wearing the jersey number 30 in 2019 in the game against Fiji in Sydney, Australia. She captained the history-making team, winning the second test against England during the test series in PNG last November. Elsie Albert will wear the St George Illawarra Dragons jersey next week when the Women's National Rugby League kicks off the 2020 season.
It's an humbling experience. It's a humbling experience, and it's a feeling that you cannot really express, because you know that everyone in PNG is a rugby league mad fan, and for me, like growing up, I'm a huge rugby league fan, and to be able to play in that arena that you've been like watching on screen, you've been watching when and to be able to play, and then this time you're not the one watching, you're in there playing, and then other people are watching you play, and it's such an experience. It'll be such an experience, and I just can't explain how I feel. I'm just so excited.
As Elsie steps into the highest level of rugby league, she recalls the challenges she faced when starting out in 2018 at home. In a society where rugby league is highly regarded a male-dominated sport, Albert witnessed the harsh conditions of a widely accepted perception that it's no game for girls. This didn't stop the determined young woman from achieving her dreams. She says there is hope, and it is evident that this perception is slowly changing.
First, thanks to the pioneers, people like Carol Humeyu and our former captain, and yeah, those pioneers that, you know, laid the platform for people like me to come through. And, you know, it was tough, you know, playing rugby as a female back in PNG. And, you know, our mindset back home, like how the men folk things, you know, like at some stage when we were playing, they would get containers and throw it into the field where we played. And yeah, it was really hard, you know, playing rugby league back home. We are changing mindset of the men folks back home, and it is changing. And like the proof is when we played against England last year. We played in Mosby. Just the support has been overwhelming. Like it's we are changing. I won't say that. We are at the same stage in 2017 when we were back then. We are changing, and it's changing slowly, and it's a matter of time that people are going to accept that, you know, girls can play rugby, and there's a pathway for women to go if they wish to, you know, play rugby, and I'm the perfect example for that. Take the challenges, take them as a stepping stone, and, you know, while you're doing it, you're not gonna easily just go up there just like that. You know, for you to get up there, you have to work hard, and yeah, working hard is one of the main things that, you know, especially in rugby league. Not in rugby league, especially in rugby league, but any other careers you wanna get to. Like, you don't just get there because, you know, you have to work hard, persevere, and set yourself goals in life, what you want to do. You know, by this time I want to be there, and by this time I should do this, do that, set goals, and then work towards achieving your goals. And yeah, for me, my advice would be set goals, know what you want, and work towards that thing that you want.
And Trukai Sports ends there. The weather forecast is next with Helen Seya. Bye for now.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus. With you always.
A look at the weather forecasts in the southern region. Fine and sunny in Port Moresby and Daru. Cloudy with occasional rain showers in Kirrama. Fine weather, then possible afternoon showers in Alotau and showers in Popondita.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus. With you always.
And that's the way it is this Thursday, 24th of September 2020. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.